Hello everyone and welcome to the first part of the review for the VKAR SCTX10 V2 model. It's a newer release from VKAR. Actually there were some other models previously released but not exactly this, and you are going to understand why, because there was also VKAR SCTX10 V1. There is also SCTX10 Pro, and there is the SCTX10. This one was the first one to be released. Then came the second version, this one. No, sorry, it was the V1, then the V2, and there is also a Pro version. The Pro version has a metal chassis and has more metal parts. Other than that, both the V2 and the Pro version are almost identical, and even the V2 uses a lot of metal parts which are described here, like parts for the suspension holder, motor mount, wheel hubs, wheel holder, and so on, differential brackets that hold the case together, and things like that. It also comes as waterproof labeled, so that should be nice, but there are no specifications regarding the motor, no specifications about the ESC, nothing. We only get some information on the other models, and on the Pro version it tells us that it has aluminum adjustable big volume oil filled coil over shocks, but once again no specifications about the motor or the ESC, nothing about that in any kind of place on the box. So let's see what is inside and let's see what is in the car installed. So I was really surprised while taking this out of the box because of its wide body and wide wheel arches. It has the aspect of a bigger car, of a bigger scale. Actually this is the same scale as the VKAR Bison, it's a 1:10 scale, but with this body design it actually makes it to look a lot more bigger than it is. Also in the box you are going to get the transmitter that you usually get with the Bison or some of the JBL models. It comes with basic trims, it has some steering and throttle reversing here. It has a third channel that works with 3-channel or 4-channel receivers. So this one is rather basic, no LCD, no digital trimming, nothing. It only has a power LED, and this will flash when the battery is low. It also comes with the same charger that you get on this type of cars. It's a 1 amp 3S and 2S balance charger. Actually this has decent quality, it charges the battery rather well and it also balances properly, but it's low because it only has 1 amp. This has a 3.5 amp battery and you can use larger batteries, so it will take a lot of time to charge with it. Still a decent option, but you may want to get a faster one. Also good news, if you are from Europe, it comes with European plug adapter, so you don't have to buy that adapter from China or US plug. Also the charger, in case if you are wondering, it's full range voltage. It works from 100 to 240 volts, so you can use this in USA, in China, in Europe, and so on. It also uses 50 and 60 hertz, so you can use it worldwide. You also get a manual included with a breakdown for the parts and their codes. In case you need repairs, you should be able to find, hopefully, the spare parts. The Bison has spare parts already available, so that is not a problem anymore. Hopefully we'll see spare parts for this. So it also comes with 3 different hex keys for taking it apart or repairing it. Right, before we continue, I'm also going to show you the VKAR Bison to have an idea of the scale of this. I don't know if I can fit them both on the camera. I'm just going to try at least to get most of them. They actually have the same wheelbase, they have identical wheelbase, only that the Bison tires are a lot more larger and the Bison it's taller, but they have the same length. And this one seems to have even the same width. Yes, no, this one has less width than the Bison. So the Bison is wider with bigger wheels, but they have the same wheelbase. I'm going to maybe take some pictures with them one next to the other so you can have a better idea, because this is not a review about the Bison. Now let's move on. Let's see what is under the hood or the case, which uses normal pins, 4 pins, and here is the inside. And taking a quick look, the body seems similar with the Bison one. And let's take this protective mesh off and let's see what we get inside. So I'm going to zoom in. This should be better now. The motor is a feral electric 4-pole motor. It has a size of 3650, 3300 kV, and the ESC is I don't know if you can see that, it's Radiant Reaktor 60T, and it also has a smaller label there inside with some specifications, probably almost impossible to see on the camera. Let me try to make some visible angle. Alright, so maybe you have been able to read it. It gives specifications for 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive version of the cars, and if you use a 2-pole or 4-pole motor, the maximum kV rating. In my case, I have a 4-pole rating motor, and the ESC can go up to 4000 kV, so it covers my kV range for this car. The receiver is this small one here, reduced in size, but it's nice because beside the 2 standard channels, it has a third channel and an aux channel. It also has another plug here on this side, which is unmarked. It has here some things written, but not really understandable. It has fail-safe and pair. Alright, so this thing here is for using a jumper wire to setting fail-safe or pairing it up. So that is sorted. This is the plug for pairing it up, and it also has actually 4 channels. So maybe with the included transmitter with 3 channels, I can use an additional channel for adding something like switchable lights or things like that. The included battery is rather standard, if we can call it that way. It's a 3500 milliamps 25C hard case LiPo with a T connector, same rating that was available on the Bison battery. This one actually seems different, and it's heavier than the Bison one. Heavier batteries usually mean that they have bigger discharge or proper discharge or real capacity. The battery on the Bison was, at least on my Bison, the original battery was very poor. It only had a very short amount of runtime, and it was always out of balance, although I had a good charger for it. It didn't have that punch, so I later replaced it with some proper 4S batteries. The body is made out of plastic, the same type of plastic that was on the Bison, and it has the same shape, and probably it's actually the same chassis. That should be interesting because the Bison had some real issues with these chassis cracking and flexing in this area because it's plastic and doesn't have any kind of reinforcement, so it can always crack. This one, it's made from a more, not thicker, but stiffer plastic than the one on the Bison. The Bison chassis is very soft, you can flex it with your hands. This one, it's harder to flex, but it does have metal mounts for the suspension, so you can always do the rod mod and reinforce it. Also, if the chassis is the same that on the Bison, you can now buy the metal reinforcement plate that you can fit yourself underneath, and it will reinforce this a lot more. Let's see now the front of the car with the suspension. So it has some real nice suspension shocks. Let's check the rebound a bit. I'm going to zoom out and let's test this. The rebound is perfect, no jumps, so the shocks probably are really oil filled. And the same for the rear part of the car. The car is also a lot more easy than the Bison. It has a smaller motor, smaller ESC, so that's understandable. It has less parts in these areas where the Bison has some reinforcement, plastic reinforcements, and this one actually uses plastic drive shafts. As you can see, there's no metal drive shaft. It's a collapsible drive shaft, and it's the same for all the wheels, but it does come with anti-roll bars pre-installed, at least on the rear. You can see the anti-roll bar here, and in the front it also has an anti-roll bar installed, which is nice. You can see a glimpse of it there, and here are the anti-roll bar links. You can see how it is installed. You can get a kit that supposedly work on the Bison as well. That should improve cornering and should limit rolling when taking hard turns. And I was right about the chassis. They are identical, only a few holes in this area are different, and some holes here, one is missing, one is added, something like that. Even these adapters can be screwed on the Bison. It has the threads here and here, so they are practically the same, and that is nice because this means that the aluminium reinforcement plate will also fit this model, and it will reinforce the chassis to prevent breakage. Another nice thing about this model is the fact that each suspension arm has a lot more holes added, so you can adjust the suspension very well. You can relocate this and it will modify the height of the car and the way it acts on the bumps. It can make the suspension softer or harder just by replacing where the screw is, and that is very interesting to play with. You can increase its overall ground clearance, or maybe you can even lower it a bit more. Also, the shock absorbers have a thread on it, and you can adjust the compression rate of the spring, making the suspension harder or softer. Let's now do a quick electronics test. So I'm going to connect the battery. Hopefully it should have a bit of charge left in it. And I'm going to power on the transmitter. And now I'm going to power on the car. So it's on, and if I give it a bit of throttle, it actually spins the wheel in reverse. That's not very smart. So let's try the throttle reverser. So I'm going to power off the transmitter, power off the car, and I'm going to use this switch. And now I'm going to power on the transmitter again, power on the car. Does it go normal? It seems to go in the normal direction now. but it's kind of weird. It does need some throttle trimming and throttle rates. It's not even at 100%. It's kind of a brutal control. I don't like it. It's not progressive, it simply jumps into action. That is to be investigated. I don't know if it's related to the transmitter or the ESC programming. That's another story that will be tackled later. In case you are wondering, this is actually the same car with the Helion 410 SC. They even use the same ESC, the Radiant Reaktor 6040, and that means that it should follow the programming here. Let's see. And yes, there it is. Some great features of your ESC: total system protection, thermal protection, battery, low voltage protection. It has LED for showing diagnostics. And let's see, can it be programmed? Yes, it has throttle range programming. Running mode, it has forward brake reversed. It has brake level assistance, drag brake, low voltage cutoff. So yes, it has a lot of things that can be programmed. Even the low voltage range, it can go from as low as 2.6 volts per cell, which is very low, up to 3.4 volts per cell, which is decent for a car, and has a lot more other things, but you can find them online. It has a programming mode here chart where it shows you how to program each parameter, and you can read more about this car. And the Helion 4 manual also has a lot more informations that you get from the VKAR manual. There are a lot of pages, 42 pages, while the original manual here, which I've taken out of the bag, it's a combination of instructions from different cars. It's the Musk model, probably the first one released, which has only generic things about how to run it and shows us some of the parts here. But then it comes with another piece of paper, which is this, the V2 model for the SCTX10, and it shows the added parts that are used on this car. It also comes with additional instructions for this transmitter, and we have the confirmation that this one is a 4-channel receiver. The transmitter has 3 channels, so hopefully we'll get an extra working function. It also comes with just this manual for the ESC, which shows us how to program the throttle range, but it doesn't show us how to program the low voltage or more important things such as punch or working modes or things like that. And with that said, I'm going to end this first part of the review because it's getting too long, and you probably are wanting to see the second part, which is the run of the car, which I will do very soon, and hopefully will upload it also very soon. Until then, be sure to follow my next uploads, and see you then. Bye bye.